Hello students, welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nandkyoliar, and in this session we are going to talk about the World AIDS Day. We will see how India is performing when it comes to dealing with the disease and what are the policy measures that India is taking to reduce the number of deaths that are associated with HIV AIDS. So let's get started. Every year, 1st of December is celebrated as the World AIDS Day, and this tradition began in 1988. It was started by the World Health Organization, and every year since then 1st December is being celebrated as the World AIDS Day. And the purpose here is to raise awareness about this disease. We want to bring global awareness about HIV AIDS. We want to reduce the myths, the stigma that is associated with this disease, so that the people living with HIV can finally lead a life of dignity, something that is missing in the cases of these people who are infected with HIV AIDS. So the broader idea over here is to raise awareness, to make people aware of the science, the facts that are associated with this disease, and to improve the living standard of people living with HIV. And this year's theme in particular was overcoming disruption, transforming the AIDS response. Now let's start with the basics. What is HIV? What is AIDS? And overall, what is India doing when it comes to dealing with this disease? So HIV is the human immunodeficiency virus. HIV is a virus. This virus attacks the immune system of the body. It weakens the immune system of the body because it attacks the white blood cells of the body, particularly the CD4 cells. Now these CD4 cells, they're kind of like the soldiers for our body, and this HIV, this basically infects the immune system. It infects the HIV, it infects the white blood cells, and it kills the CD4 cells. It kills the soldiers of our body. So naturally the immune system becomes weak. Now what happens is that during the later stages, when HIV has badly affected our immune system, it has badly infected, it has destroyed our immune system to an extent that the immune system has become very weak, only then a person gets AIDS, which is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. AIDS is basically a situation wherein HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus, has badly infected our immune system. It has weakened our immune system to an extent that now the body is not capable of dealing with normal diseases also. And that is when a person acquires this disease, a person gets acquired immunodeficiency syndrome or AIDS. So this happens in the later stages of HIV infection, which means that if HIV is diagnosed early, not every HIV is going to turn into AIDS. So diagnosis plays a very major role over here. Diagnosis and early treatment. Diagnosis and early treatment is very essential when it comes to dealing with HIV AIDS, because AIDS is not curable. Is it curable? No. AIDS is not curable, but it is 100% manageable. It is not curable, but it is manageable with medicines and treatment. Now what does this mean? This means that you cannot cure AIDS, you cannot permanently get rid of AIDS. If you are an HIV positive person, you will not turn into an HIV negative person. But what will happen? You will be able to lead a life with dignity. You will be able to lead a life with a normal lifespan if you are taking your medicines regularly, if you are taking your treatment regularly. So an HIV positive person can can lead a life with normal lifespan, can also have HIV negative children if they take their medicines on time, if they take the treatment on time. And what is the treatment that I'm talking about here? It is ART, antiretroviral therapy. This is the treatment that an AIDS person needs to take so as to live a manageable life. And this treatment is basically something that needs to be taken daily and for life. This is the challenge that the patients basically face, because this treatment it has to be taken daily and it has to be taken for life. But if you take this treatment daily, if you take this treatment effectively, a person, an HIV positive person, can lead a normal life, can lead a manageable life. And that is why, because this treatment is required to be taken like throughout the life, government basically runs some ART centers where this treatment is available for free, so that patients of all strata can benefit from this scheme, or benefit from this initiative that the government has. Government runs some of these centers free of cost. Medicines are provided free of cost, generic medicines, they are provided free of cost, and the treatment also in some government run centers is free of cost. So this is what is happening, like this is the situation of HIV AIDS. And if we talk about the measures that India has been taking to deal with this disease, so India has been performing very good when it comes to dealing with HIV AIDS, because of the policies that we have, or the organizations that we have. So we have the National AIDS Control Organization. National AIDS Control Organization, which was set up in 1992, and the objective of this organization is to run all the AIDS related or HIV related programs in the entire country. So this is our national organization, the national level organization. And then there are some initiatives that India took. So basically India runs one of the biggest AIDS control programs. We have one of the biggest AIDS control programs. There is this NACP, National AIDS Control Program, one of the biggest, the largest AIDS control program, National AIDS Control Program, which has been implemented in 5 phases. And this basically has been responsible for our success in reducing the mortality, in reducing the morbidity when it comes to HIV AIDS. So the 5th phase is ongoing at the moment, but all the phases basically become important for our examination. So let's talk about all these phases in brief. First we had NACP 1, the first phase. The first phase of NACP was operational from 1992 to 1999. Here our goal was to slow down the spread of this disease. Slow down the spread of this disease to reduce what? The mortality and the morbidity that is associated with this disease. And we were pretty much successful in that. So our goal here was to slow down the spread of this disease in the first phase of NACP. And then I already told you that NACO was also created in 1992 as a step in this direction itself. Then we have the second phase, NACP 2. The second phase of NACP was operational from 1999 to 2006, and here our goal basically was to provide a response a response to this disease. We wanted to provide a response to this disease. First, we wanted to slow down the disease, and now we wanted to provide a response to this epidemic under the second phase, NACP 2. Then we have the third phase, which was NACP 3. This phase was operational from 2007 to 2012. And here our goal was to halt and reverse the epidemic. So in every phase, we were just upping our game, we were moving up the ladder, and here in the third phase, our goal was to halt and reverse the epidemic. And for that, we did something special. We organized, or we set up DAPCUs, district level or district AIDS prevention and control units, so as to work in tandem with the national level organizations. We also had these local associates, these local organizations, district level organizations created, so that awareness can be disseminated at the local level, at the grassroots level. So this is what we achieved in the third phase of NACP. Then we have the fourth phase, NACP 4. This was functional from 12 to 17. Initially, this was planned from 12 to 17, but this was extended to 2021. And here we did something important. Here, basically, we came up with a policy. We came up with a set of rules that was the AIDS Prevention and Control Act. AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 2017. Please note that this is the primary legislation when it comes to dealing with AIDS. Primary legislation in our country to deal with HIV AIDS. So let's talk about the Act. AIDS Act of 2017. AIDS Act was basically a method or a way of providing protection to the people living with HIV. How? Because it said no to discrimination. The first and the most important thing over here was that there will be absolutely no discrimination against the people who are living with HIV, which means that you cannot deny them admission into schools, into colleges, into government offices, into hospitals for treatment, etc. You cannot have discriminatory attitude towards the people living with HIV. This is against their right to life with dignity. So this is what the first major thing that this act provided us. Second, it even said that the HIV status of people is private and confidential. Because of the social stigma that is associated with this disease, the HIV status of a person is private and confidential, which means that if there's any hospital, if there's any school, if there's any college, if your employer, if they have your HIV status, they cannot provide that status to anyone, or they cannot make it public. They cannot make your HIV status public until they have taken a written consent. A written consent from you, a written consent from the person concerned. Until they have that, these institutes, these organizations cannot make the HIV status of a person public, which is very much required for these people to lead a life with dignity. Then the Act also said that you cannot be forced to give your consent, or you cannot be forced to take an HIV test unless it is ordered by the court. You cannot be forced to take an HIV test unless it is ordered by the court. So basically, this was a set of umbrella. It was these rules they provided and a protection to these people living with HIV, so that the social stigma can come down and these people can lead a life of dignity. So this happened during the fourth phase, the NACP 4. Then Mission Sampark was also launched. So very important things happened during the fourth phase, the last phase that was running. Mission Sampark was also launched to reach out to the people who lost touch to their therapy, who lost touch to their treatment, who stopped their treatment midway. It was a way of reaching out to these people and bringing them back to treatment so that these people can lead a life of dignity. These people can lead a manageable life. So that is why Mission Sampark was launched. And now we have entered the fifth phase of NACP. Here also our goal basically is in tandem with SDG 3.3, where we want to reduce the threat or make this HIV AIDS. We want to reduce the threat from HIV AIDS by 2030. We want to eliminate basically this disease as a public threat by 2030. This is in association with the SDG 3.3. Now this is what India has been doing so far, and India, I must say, has achieved remarkable success when it comes to reducing the number of deaths that is associated with this disease. So if we talk about the impact and progress over here, so the national prevalence fell from 0.33% in 2010 to 0.2%, and the global average is 0.7%. So we are far below the global average also, which means we are doing really, really great. Then there's a 49% reduction in new infections, outperforming the global decline of 40%. Here we have also done very well. And overall, the new cases burden on India is only 5%. 5% of the global share we have for new cases. Then AIDS-related deaths have also fallen by 81.4%. Very, very important. This has reduced by 81.4%. This tells us that our treatment is going really well. Art is performing really well. Then we have globally the AIDS related deaths, they remain high at 6.3 lakh in 2024, but India's share is only 5%. Despite being the most populous nation in the world, our global share is only 5% when it comes to AIDS related deaths. Then the mother-to-child transmission has also decreased by 74.6%. So we know that HIV can also be transmitted during pregnancy, during childbirth, and even during breastfeeding. So this also mother-to-child transmission, this has also decreased by 74.6%. Then HIV testing has risen. HIV testing has risen from 4.13 CR in 2020-21 to 6.62 CR in 24-25. And I already told you that if there is an early diagnosis of the disease, we can prevent HIV into turning to AIDS. And the ART coverage also has expanded from 14 lakhs to 18 lakhs for the people living with HIV. Then the viral load testing has almost doubled from 8.9 lakh to 15.98 lakhs. So a lot of good things actually are happening in India to deal with HIV AIDS, and so far we have been performing really good when it comes to reducing the number of deaths that are associated with HIV AIDS. So that was all for this video. I hope you understood the analysis effectively. Now let us practice a question for prelims. Under the HIV/AIDS Prevention and Control Act 2017, which of the following is not permitted? A. A hospital refusing treatment to an HIV positive person. B. Voluntary HIV testing. C. Confidentiality of HIV status. Or D. Appointment of ombudsman for grievance redressal. Choose the correct option. Please provide your answers in the comment section and we will meet in a new video. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.